Good morning. Welcome to Sales Chatter, the logistics podcast where we help 10,000 reps try to hit a million GP. I'm your co-host, Ryan Mohamed. With me is my main man, the bodacious cowboy, president and CEO of RGTX Logistics Solutions, Jeff Dickinson. How you doing this morning, brother?
Good morning, Ryan. How are you, sir? Oh boy, I can't wait to talk to Gayle. You know what? With that said, let's just get right into this.
Let's do it.
Welcome to the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.
Yeah, that's one of our shortest intros because we both can't wait to talk to Gayle. So before we even get started, let's say a big thank you to our corporate sponsors, Centurion Trucking. Damon's over there doing amazing things. And we have Gayle from his amazing team where they're actually looking out for freight agents across North America, paying up to 60% GP. And you get to work alongside amazing people like Gayle and Daman. So with that being said, let's welcome Gayle to Sales Chatter this morning. We're so happy to have you. Good morning, Gayle.
Good morning, you guys. How are you guys today?
Awesome. Thanks for joining us. I know that, you are extremely busy. So we appreciate that. And you know what? This is a live show. So, things do happen. So it's how you respond to it that counts, right?
Yeah, and who doesn't love dogs anyway? So it's okay.
No, not right.
Yeah, exactly. Not me, right? We've got 3 of them. So, like we said, we're so happy to have you. And this is the first week that we're kicking off where, hey, we're talking to carriers. So last week we had amazing episodes with HR recruiters in the industry. Now we're going to start with carriers. So Gayle, everybody wants to know, tell us about your unique story into logistics. How'd you get there? Where are you at right now? And where do you want to go?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much. Like I said, I had a little bit of a unique story getting into the industry. I talked to Ryan actually a couple of days ago, and we were talking about how, sometimes you don't choose transportation. It chooses you, or logistics chooses you. And that's definitely what happened with myself here. I was just finishing up my grade 12 year of high school, and my mom worked in accounting at a local customs broker here on the West Coast. And they got an internal job posting saying, hey guys, we have this receptionist role. It's, pre-clearance, data entry, real simple stuff. If you got anyone, let them come apply. So my mom comes marching down in the kitchen after school one day and goes, Gayle, you're about to graduate. It's about time that you get a job. So I went and did the interview, and obviously I didn't do too bad because I ended up getting the job. And so I started out in customs brokerage, and that's what I did for the next 5 years. I started out doing that reception pre-clearance role, kind of dealing with like very base level stuff, and then eventually moved into courier low value freight, which is basically like today you would be Amazon freight, but back then it was FedEx, UPS, DHL, clearing those types of shipments for personal orders, and then eventually transitioning into releases, and then priority releases, which were things like plants, meats, pet foods, some of the more complex entries that you would do as a customs broker. And then at that point, we didn't have a trainer in the company. They were on medical leave, and it looked like they weren't going to be coming back. So we did a lot of shadowing for any new people that were coming in. And that's something I really enjoyed. I liked teaching people and mentoring people. So that's what I was doing with all the new people and the new folks as they came in. And I guess somebody noticed, because one day I was sitting at my desk and I got a phone call. Hey, Gayle, can you come up to HR? And my heart stopped. I was like, oh my God, I did something. I'm in trouble. Like, here we go. So I marched myself up into HR. And when I walked in there, there was my HR manager sitting on one side of the desk and my operations manager sitting on the other, and, stoic faces. I was like, oh my goodness, here we go.
Yeah.
But no, it turned out that I guess upper management had noticed I had been taking all these new people under my wing, and they actually decided to create and mold a new position in the company specifically for me. And that was as the corporate trainer.
Nice.
And so that's what I moved into. And for the next year and a half, spent that time kind of building out, SOPs, operating manuals and policies, procedures, stuff like that, and mentoring all of the new folks as they came into their operational roles. Trained just over 50 people in my year and a half there. And then at that time, I actually ended up getting approached by Daman on LinkedIn, and we started a conversation. And that's where that kind of opportunity with Centurion Trucking kind of came to the forefront. And I decided to make the leap from, my corporate trainer role into logistics manager at Centurion and kind of dive into a new aspect of the industry. So it was my first time seeing the actual trucking side. And the brokerage side, you saw a lot of drivers coming into the office and being stuck at the border, kind of their crappiest days on the job, so to speak. So it was interesting to be able to see it then from that side.
That's amazing. That is a great. So going from working as a corporate trainer and now you're put into a logistics manager, what kind of skills did you kind of like were transferable that you think that from like working on the customs brokerage side to completely coming into freight brokerage?
Yeah, I would say the biggest skill was just the communication. If anyone knows me personally, I am a social butterfly. I can talk anybody's ear off for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. You just, give me a topic and we'll go. So that was definitely something that was very easy to transition over with, was the communication side of things. As a corporate trainer, my job was definitely more about mentoring and peer tutoring and building people into what they were supposed to, be in the operational role. Transitioning over to Centurion, I know I'm still dealing with the operational side. We're dealing with our dispatch team, dealing with our logistics team. Of course, you have the administration side as well. Plus, then you were dealing with carriers and customers. But the hard part, I would say, was navigating that transition from that interpersonal communication to more of a sales side or a sales aspect where you have to now go out and build these fresh relationships with no strings attached, so to speak.
That is amazing. That is something that's very intriguing. Our focus for this season 2, as you know, is empowering women into logistics. So you've seen both sides. What kind of advice would you give for, let's say, someone brand new as a female coming into our industry when they're dealing with so much? And like you said, you deal with customers, you deal with carriers. What would your advice would be as a trainer?
I would just say to be unapologetically authentic. That has been the number one for me. If you can just be yourself and be honest to who you are, it shines through in whatever you're doing, whether it's talking to customers or carriers. If you can be that honest person and that honest personality, you tend to be able to get to where you need to be a lot faster. I kind of had to learn at the beginning when I was trying to do the sales thing that it works so much better when you're just yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Jeff always kind of talks about, be yourself and, everything will kind of fall into place the way that it needs to be. Can you talk a little bit more about seeing women actually coming into like as your trainer right now? Are you seeing any kind of differences in gaps that they're, whether it be educational wise or having that confidence to go into this industry and go head first?
Yeah, unfortunately, there is, at least that I'm noticing, quite a large gap between women being interested in coming into the freight broker industry than there is men. At least here at Centurion, we've had, for every 10 men that apply, there's always maybe like one woman. And I definitely like to see that shift to seeing like a higher ratio, like a 50-50 or even a 40-60 at this point, I'd be happy with. Yeah, it's hard because I don't think a lot of women see it as like a viable career option, but it's actually such a lucrative position and role that you can step into, and anybody can do it.
And that's what I love that you just said, that anybody can do it. Jeff and I can attest to this. There's no path in order how to get to where you need to get to, whether it be lucrative and things like that. As you kind of mentioned, every 10 men that apply, it's one woman that basically comes into it. What are you guys doing at Centurion Trucking to kind of change that narrative, or just trying to get women more involved?
Yeah. We're trying to basically make it an open platform for anybody who's interested in coming into the industry. If you are on LinkedIn, I'm sure some of you may have seen, postings from myself or from Daman. Even you guys here promote our sales chatter as well. We are definitely trying to just bring anybody who's interested in building their own business into the industry, whether it's a male, female, national, international, anyone who's willing to put in the work and the energy, we're willing to train and we're willing to teach. And I think that's one of the biggest things, is that we can make a mentoring platform for people to come in. There's that space for people to learn without commitments or anything like that. And I'd like to see a lot more women coming in. It's open to everybody. So if any of you women are watching, hit me up on LinkedIn here.
And that's great, and that's what the great thing about this industry is that you come in and you could never know what you can do with it. Do you see a lot of, let's say, couples coming in as agents? Like, let's say, because what I've kind of seen with the cradle to the grave agents, especially in the US, some of these couples will come together. So one person will do sales, somebody will do operations, and kind of work together as a collaborative team. But then they start that way, but then it kind of flips. It's like whoever needs to put on the hat today to do operations or do sales. Is that something that you guys see as well at Centurion Trucking?
Yeah, definitely. So I've seen, women come in on their own, but I've also seen, husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend duos that have come in and have been very successful. Like they can definitely rely on each other's strong suits. And I think they actually have a bit of an advantage because they get to have those conversations outside of working hours. The pillow talk, so to speak, gets to be about your sales and your logistics. So I think they can be very successful. We actually have a really nice husband and wife couple with us right now. So, and we also see that on the driver's side. We run team drivers. So some of the best teams that we have are the husband and wife duos.
We'll talk about that a little bit. Let's get to the carrier side of it because I know the niche and kind of like what you guys kind of do is like team drivers for what your actual assets and things like that. Do you, like you said, what does the dynamic look like? Let's say a female wanting to get into trucking themselves on the driver end versus like the sales end.
Honestly, I don't know too much about the driver's side because I kind of step away from that a little bit. That's all of our safety department here. But that being said, I know that we do have some phenomenal husband and wife duos that have come or gone. I think we have 2 currently in our organization. And personally, I find them fantastic. Like the women are always, keeping the husbands in line. They're always on time for their deliveries. They do paperwork fantastic. Like there's never something not signed for PODs or anything like that. So that is just fantastic to see. As for the hiring, we like to see it as a diversity standpoint as well. Anytime we have women come in, whether it's with a husband or on their own as well, unfortunately, we don't really hire too much for single drivers. We're mostly team drivers. So it's typically the husband and wife duos. But when they come in, it's like almost an automatic hire because, we need to try and pump up the women in trucking. So we love the diversity.
There you go. So let me ask you this. Do you really think that couples talk about logistics at nighttime when they're off of work? I mean, come on. Of course they do, right? I mean, that it's 24/7, 365, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my significant other, he's an electrician. He has nothing to do with transportation. And I'll come home and I will yap his ear off all about everything that was happening today. I think he knows almost as much as some of our sales agents, some of the new guys, because I just don't stop talking about it. So I think they do.
And I would agree that support is everything, isn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely. Even like this weekend, I was a little nervous for doing the podcast. So I was like, ask me questions.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So you brought up something very interesting where you said for every 10 men that come into a position, there's only 1 woman applicant. What do you think that can be done in the industry, not just for yourself in Centurion, but for carriers in general? What do you think is the main reason why you're not getting those applicants?
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to come down to like knowledge. As I mentioned before, I don't think a lot of women look at transportation as a career path, but kind of educating them that, like I said before, anybody can do it. It's something so easy to step into. And then I think it's also on the like the IOTAs for the companies and the corporations to make sure it's a welcoming space for women to step into, whether that's building out accommodations for different scheduling or making sure that they have proper policies and procedures in place to make sure that they're protected and they can feel safe in their own careers.
Yeah, a week ago, we were talking to recruiters, and the real interesting thing that came up that I found out that 1 in 4 women in general have C-level positions within a company, and only 1 of 20 women of color have C-level. What do you think, from your experience and working in the industry, especially on the carrier side, what's being done at Centurion, to bring that up? What are you doing as a company?
for us, the owners or the upper management, I guess, so to speak, basically Daman, has been making sure that they help coach and mentor women into higher levels of their careers. I mean, that's exactly what happened with me. I kind of came in already at a little bit higher of an executive level. But if it weren't for Daman, I probably wouldn't be where I am today. He's been instrumental to helping me grow and kind of step into my own, so to speak. And I think that's one of the most important parts, is making sure that women have that support that they need from upper management, and also just seeing other women in those power positions of influence. We need to see women at the top, doing great things and being successful, kicking butt and taking names, in order for other women to go, I'm going to do that. That's going to be me. So I think that's very important.
I love that, BK. So it's like, it's really important that you're seeing that, because even for myself, I'm obviously a person of color myself. When I see somebody like Daman who's in a high position, it's like, hey, I can do that, and just seeing that myself. I might not have a conversation with Daman, but I can say, okay, well, I can see he's doing something right. For you, working on the sales side, when you're making calls, and I know you're extremely successful on the sales end of it, do you find your conversations are a little bit different when you speak with the genders, whether it be a male or a female, on the phone, and your kind of customer base itself?
Not necessarily. I would say a lot of it comes down to personality. Like, I can have very, very good conversation with men or women, depending if our personalities mix well together. And sometimes I have those conversations where they start and, you hit a wall right away, just because the personalities don't quite match up. And unfortunately, that's just part of sales. You're going to mix and intermingle with people that fit with your personality and your charisma, and some that don't. So that's definitely what I've experienced.
I love that. And as you're a trainer at Centurion, we've had many trainers here, like Scott, on our podcast and things like that, to talk about the gaps, the varying gaps. What do you guys kind of do to kind of fill those gaps and kind of show and paint the image? Because, hey, you could be a trainer, and with an agent working a 100% commission job, it's up to them to do the work, right? You can give them all the tools in the water, but they got to drink the water from their end. What are some things that you guys kind of do that is unique compared to other training programs that are out there, that are like, okay, shadow somebody for the whole shift, and then write down what they said and do all those things? What are you guys doing specifically at Centurion Trucking for training itself?
Yeah, we kind of have a unique kind of system, I guess, because we're training people not just here in British Columbia, but also in like Alberta and Ontario, and even overseas. Like, we have freight brokers that are coming out of Morocco, Bangladesh. We've had some out of Africa. Like, we are literally international. So we have a morning meeting every day. It's about an hour to 45 minutes, where we just go in and we talk about people's problems, roadblocks that they're experiencing, just a live interactive session where we can talk about issues that they're having and find creative solutions for them. And then on another note as well, just like the testimonial piece, I guess, part of it, showing live examples of what myself, what Daman, what others have done to get to where they are, having that history that backs up what we're talking about. It provides credibility to what we're saying. It's better than just saying, oh yeah, we did it, you can do it too, but to actually show the work and the effort and the volume and the output that had to go in order to get to where we are today, definitely adds that credibility.
Crazy. It's having that morning call, I think, would benefit a lot of people, especially like women who are a little bit getting brand new into the industry as a new person, right, Jeff? So the one thing that our recruiters have kind of said is like, just be yourself, be unapologetic, know that you're going to go for it. And I think one of the good things that you guys do at Centurion Trucking is there's no pay gaps, right? Like, I don't think anybody's on salary. So it's like everybody has the same opportunity to win. Nobody could kind of say, okay, well, he gets paid more than me, or she gets paid more than me. It's like, okay, well, we all got a fair ground. Obviously, you guys are going to put in your procedures and your SOPs for customers and how you guys want things to grow. But what would be some advice that, let's say, kids coming out of college, like some women coming out of college, for them to, okay, this is a viable career, this is a lucrative career, let's get into it? What would your advice be to them, Gayle?
I would definitely say that people coming into this industry, especially with no experience, fantastic. You're a blank slate, you're moldable, you're impressionable. So it gives you that ability to come in and to just soak everything that you learn up like a sponge. And then honestly just regurgitate it. That's the biggest thing for a lot of the salespeople that I'm seeing have become successful, is to just be able to learn and take what they want from the training sessions, from the online platforms that we have, the learning experience, and mold it to what works for them. Like if you were to sit me and Daman down next to each other and look at our sales strategies, his is very different than mine. But there are different pieces that I've pulled from things he's taught me, and I think vice versa. Things that he's pulled that I've taught him. It's a collaboration. You need to be able to feed off of each other, and that's why I think having a network of different brokers and people in the industry that you can learn off of and bounce ideas off of is really important. Like I love watching your podcast in the morning because I learn something new every single morning. So that's really important, to being able to immerse yourself into the industry and be willing to learn and accept advice and criticisms.
Yeah, I got a quick question for you. Gayle, do you have any other women that you talk to in the industry where you kind of have brainstorming and you discuss like different issues that pop up that sometimes, they're afraid to ask their male counterparts or anything like that? Have you been involved in any of that?
I definitely have a couple people that I bounce ideas off of here and there. But I also like to get out into the industries and see what other people are doing and what's happening. Like here in Canada, there's a company, Trucking HR, that is doing the Women with Drive event. I believe it's coming up in March. I won't be able to attend this year, but maybe next year. But they did a Women with Drive meets the road or hits the road, and it came to BC last week. And I went to that event, and it was fantastic to network with all of these women who are in similar positions to what I'm in the industry, and be able to see what's working for them and their organizations, what's not working, roadblocks that we're facing. And there's so much information and so many resources out there. And I would just say, don't be afraid to talk to them. Reach out and have those conversations.
And how many women actually, go to these events, from your point of view?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure about the one that's happening out in Ontario later this year, but I know that the one that they had in BC, they sold out like 5 days before the event. They said, sorry, we're all out of tickets. So I think there was about 65, 70 people there at that event. And even me, I'm pretty sure I snuck in the door because I never got my confirmation in my email. I just showed up. But no, it was fantastic. And it's really good to see that influx of women coming in. If anything, we should be having more events like this where we can get women in our industry together and we can brainstorm and we can talk about things that are happening in the industry, like what we're talking about here today, like how to get more women into transportation, logistics, how to empower them into those C-level jobs. That's definitely what we need to be talking about.
And you know what? I think this is a great opportunity and a door opener for you to start such a thing.
Yes, definitely.
Right. Yeah, because I firmly believe that women need more credibility to get noticed more than what they are right now, and that these type of events that are out there, if more women attended them and they talked about more of the issues that have been going on and bring it to the forefront. Not to say that they haven't been talking about, but it needs to be talked about much more. And that's why Ryan and myself decided, to do this season 2 about empowering women into the logistics industry and helping them to be successful, and talking to women like yourself, who started at the bottom and who are now moving up the ladder, so to speak. And it's so important to get it out there and to discuss amongst your peers, especially men start talking more about, women in the industry and how they can help them to move up.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know if it's proven or anything, but they say like, men are able to go out there and have like that confidence and that swagger when they're dealing with things inside their organization, where women tend to be a little bit more soft-spoken and laid back. But if we can even that playing field where men are advocating for women, women are advocating for women, that's where we're going to see some real like fundamental, substantial change in our industry.
I agree. What's your thoughts, Ryan?
Yeah, I think that is exactly what we need, And the one couple keywords that I've been getting from this 2 week journey so far, doing season 2, is learning about the soft spoken and the empathy, the things that I don't think about that women possess a lot better, right? And it could be based on like your situation, having kids, or just going through high school or going through university and college. Gail, you've been extremely successful in every role that you've done, and it's a kudos to you. It's a testament to yourself. What do you see that's next for you and Centurion Trucking? Going forward for things like diversity and things like getting women involved and things like that, and basically expanding the agent program that you all have right now.
Yeah, no, I intend to keep growing myself. I don't want to ever stop growing. That's my personal opinion on the matter. But I definitely hope in like the next, 5-10 years that we build the freight broker platform that we've been building into something substantial that's a welcoming environment for men, for women, for people of color, basically anybody who wants to go out there, put in the work, put in the effort in order to be successful and build their own business. We want to have that open platform for them. So that's where we are looking to go with it. Myself, I hope to be one of those influential women sitting on, the panels at the Women with Drive events or whatever, women inspirational events in our industry there are in the future. That's one of my personal goals. I want to be able to inspire the young women who come into our industry to do some of the same things that I've done. So that's where I'd like to see myself.
You know what? From this conversation, I can definitely tell you were talking about, from that 60 to maybe 10 to that 60-40 kind of spread. I think you're going to do better than that from what you just said. I think that's what you want to do. And I believe strongly that you're going to get there. And that more people need to, listen to you. And I think it would be a great idea if you could get on one of those panels and promote women in the industry, because we really need that. Yeah, we really do.
Yeah, I agree.
That's awesome. So Gail, as we're going to be wrapping things up, how can people get a hold of you, learn about Centurion Trucking, learn about American Logistics, or learn about your journey itself?
Yeah, you can reach me on LinkedIn, Gayle Nieuwenhuizen, GAYLENIEU. You just reach out to me on LinkedIn. That's probably your easiest way. Otherwise, you can send me an email, logistics@centuriontrucking.com. If you're interested in becoming a freight broker with us, again, reach out to myself or even Daman on LinkedIn. We're happy to have you, and we are accepting.
That's awesome. So want to thank you for taking your time out of your day to spend it with us. I know you constantly do watch the show, but it's amazing to get your insight and have this conversation with you. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody for coming out this morning. It's been a great time having Gail on this morning. Please like, comment, subscribe. Find value in this. Share with somebody. Share with your neighbor. You just never know. Your neighbor might want to get into freight brokerage, and Gail is the missing link. So, want to catch the replays? We'll hit the replays again at 1 and 4 p.m. Eastern Time. LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Jeff, take us home, my man.
Well, thank you again, Gail, for joining us. We really appreciated it. We loved your insights and what you have done throughout your career. That's awesome, and I know that you'll continue going up that ladder at the pace you're going. So that's fantastic, and we hope that we can have you back again, in the near future. I appreciate that. So
yeah, anytime.
Yep. So with that said, thanks again. Join us tomorrow for another episode of Sales Chatter. We hope to see you there. Audacious Cowboy out.